Very good morning to all the students. Today we are going to do chapter 10 of your grammar book, that is verb. Verb. A verb is a word used for saying something about a person or a thing. Okay, the words which say something about the person or thing are called verbs. Or you can simply define the verbs as all doing words are called verb. Doing word means the words that indicate some action. Alright, such words are called verb. Let us understand with the help of some examples that how the verbs tell something about a person or a thing, or how a verb is a doing word. Okay, now in example 1, Aditi laughs. Alright, here the word laughs is telling about Aditi. Alright, that she laughs. Okay, so laugh is our verb. And on the other hand, it is a doing word also. It indicates a work. Example 2, the policeman arrested the thief. Okay, here the word arrested is telling about the work done by the policeman. That policeman arrested the thief. So here the word arrested is our verb, and on other hand it is a doing word. It indicates a work. Example 3, the boys are eating food. Here the word eating is telling about the boys, that they are eating food. Okay, so eating is verb, and it is also a doing word indicating a work. Okay. Example 4, my father baked a cake. Okay, here the word baked is telling about the father, that he is doing a work of baking. He baked a cake. Okay, so baked is our doing word, that is verb. Okay, now example 5, the painting is beautiful. Here the word is telling about the painting, that it is beautiful. Okay, now the question arises that is not indicating any work. There is no action in is. Okay, but the answer to this question is that word is indicating a state of being. Alright, it is also categorized as a kind of verb. Okay, a verb may tell us what a person or thing does. Okay, for example, Ramita sings. Now what Ramita does? Ramita sings. So sings is a verb here. Boys run quickly. What boys do? Boys run quickly. Okay, so run is verb here. What is done to a person or thing? Alright, now the chair is broken. Now what is done to the chair? Chair is broken. So broken is verb here. Binay is punished. What is done to Binay? Binay is punished. Okay, so punished is verb here. Third is what a person or thing is. State of being, or you can say state of the subject. Okay, let us see some example. The dog is active. Okay, is here is state verb, as it defines whether the dog is active or inactive. Okay, Rahul was my friend. Here was is state verb, as it defines whether Rahul was my friend or not. Okay, the only difference is that in first case the tense is present tense, and in the second case it is a past tense. Okay, now let us see what is the main verb. Okay, the word that typically show the action or state of being of a subject and has an independent meaning in a sentence is called the main verb. Okay, the main thing to note in the definition about main verb is that it shows action. state of being. So main verb could be the doing word, the action word, or it could be the state of being. Okay? Has independent meaning in a sentence. Alright, it means the main verb can stand independently in a sentence. Okay? Now, also called lexical verb or principal verb. So, we can call the main verb as lexical verb or principal verb. Okay? Can stand alone or can be used with a helping or auxiliary verb. Okay? So, as we studied in the definition, that the main verbs are independent. Okay? But sometimes it needs the help of some helping verb or auxiliary verb to complete the sense in a sentence. Alright. Or it can stand alone to complete a sentence. Okay. Can be used in V1, V2, V3, V4 and V5 form of verb. Alright. Now we will understand about the main verbs more deeply with the help of some examples. Example 1. I write a letter. Okay. Here the word write is typically showing the action. Alright. The doing word. Okay. And it can stand independently to complete the meaning of the sentence. Let's see. If we cover this portion of the sentence, then I write will alone complete and make a meaningful sentence. Okay. In sentence 2, he wrote a letter. In this sentence, the word wrote is showing the action. It is as a doing word in the sentence. Okay. So, it is the main verb here. In sentence 3, he has written a letter. Here, the word written is showing the action. It is the doing word. And it is used along with the auxiliary verb has. As we have read in the definition that the main verb sometimes used with an auxiliary verb to make a meaningful sentence. Okay. So, here the verb written has been used with auxiliary verb has to complete the meaningful sentence. Okay. He is writing a letter. Okay. Here the doing word is writing. Okay. So this is the main verb of this sentence and it is used along with the auxiliary verb is to make a meaningful sentence. Okay. So writing is the main verb here. In example 5, he writes a letter. Here the main action word or the doing word is writes. Okay. And if we cover this portion of the sentence, then he writes can still make a meaningful sentence. Alright. So in these sentences, we saw the main verb is can stand independently to make a complete sentence and sometimes they are used along with the auxiliary verb to make a meaningful sentence. Okay. And you can see here that in first sentence, write is the first form of the verb. In second sentence, it is wrote, the second form of verb. Third, written is the third form of the verb. And in sentence 4, writing is the fourth form of the verb. And in fifth sentence, writes is the fifth form of the verb. Okay. So as I have told you in the definition that a main verb can be expressed in all the 5 forms of verb. Okay. So here we saw that the verb write as a main verb can be expressed in all the 5 form of verbs. Okay. Auxiliary verb or helping verb. Okay. This is a very important form of verb, children. Okay. Let us see the definition. Auxiliary or helping verb are used with a main verb to show the verb's tense or to form a negative or question or possibility or to make a complete sense in a sentence. Okay, let us see all about the auxiliary verbs with the help of some examples. First one, Ram is playing cricket. Children haven't completed their work. Does Sam write all his own reports? It may rain today. We are watching a film. Okay, so as I have told you in the definition that auxiliary verbs tells about the tense of a sentence. It makes the negative of a sentence. It is used for making interrogative sentences. And it is also used for making the possibility in a sentence, or it is used for completing the sense in a sentence. It is used for making a meaningful sentence. Okay, so here in example first, you can say that auxiliary verb is telling about the tense of the verb. Okay, and we can, by reading the sentence, we can clearly make out that it is a present tense. The sentence is in present tense. Second, the children haven't completed their work. Here, the auxiliary verb haven't is making the negative of this sentence. Okay. Does Sam write all his own reports? Here, the auxiliary verb does is making the interrogative sentence. Okay. It may rain today. Here, we are talking about possibility in an auxiliary verb. Okay, so the auxiliary verb may is making a kind of sentence which is about the possibility. Okay, that it may or may not rain today. We are watching a film. Here, the auxiliary verb are is used along with the main verb watching to complete the meaningful sentence. Okay, to make sense in a sentence. Okay, so these are some examples of auxiliary verbs. Children, there are three kinds of auxiliary verb or helping verbs. Okay, the first one is primary auxiliary verb. Okay, now I would like you to note down which are the verbs categorized as the primary auxiliary verb. Okay, they are be, am, is, are, was, were, been, being, has, had, having, do, does, did. Okay, so these are some auxiliary verbs categorized as primary auxiliary verb. Okay, now some primary auxiliary verbs like am, is, are, has, have, etc. are used independently as main verb in a sentence. Okay, so as I have told you while telling the definition of main verb, okay, that main verbs also show the state of being. Okay, so these are some auxiliary verbs which shows the state of being as well as it act as the main verb in a sentence. Okay, see some example. I am a boy. Okay, here the auxiliary verb am is acting as a main verb. Okay, and it is also the state of being. Okay, she is a good girl. Okay, here the auxiliary verb is acting as a main verb and it is also a state of being. Okay, he was an honest man. Okay, here the verb was is showing the auxiliary verb as a main verb and also the state of being. Okay, they are hardworking men. Okay, here the auxiliary verb are is working as a main verb of the sentence as well as it shows the state of being. Alright, so this is about the primary auxiliary verb. Alright, the second kind of auxiliary verb is modal auxiliary verb. Okay, children, I would like you to note down the auxiliary verbs which are categorized as modal auxiliary verb. Okay, they are can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would, must, ought to. Alright, these are some auxiliary verbs categorized as modal auxiliary verbs. Okay, the modal auxiliary verbs are never used as main verb. Okay, as we have seen in the primary auxiliary verb, they are some of the primary auxiliary verb being used as a main verb. Okay, but in modal auxiliary verb, we can never use it as a main verb. Okay, they work as a supporting verbs for the main verbs. Okay, let us see some examples. You can help me. He will go there tomorrow. It may rain today. She could pass the examination. We must respect our elders. Okay, here the modal auxiliary verb can, will, may, could, and must are used as a supporting verb or helping verb for the main verbs like help, go, rain, pass, and respect. Okay, so this is about the modal auxiliary verb. The third kind of auxiliary verb is marginal auxiliary verb. Okay, please note that used to, dare, and need are called marginal auxiliary verbs. Okay, we have the auxiliary verbs like used to, dare, and need as a marginal auxiliary verb. Okay, let us see some examples. Rahul used to play cricket. He dares to go there. She needs to approach you. Okay, so in these sentences, we saw that used to, dare to, and needs to are working as a supporting or helping verb for the main verbs like play, go, and approach. Okay, let us see another kind of verb, that is belonging verb. The verb has, have, and had show belonging or possession called belonging verbs. Okay, in belonging verbs, we have only three verbs, that is has, have, and had. Okay, so it is used to show the belonging or possession of any person, place, or thing with the subject. Okay, let us see some examples. Tanya has long hair. Okay, here the belonging verb has shows that the long hair belongs to Tanya. Okay, Rima and Seema have a huge house. Alright, here the belonging verb have shows that Rima and Seema possess a huge house. Okay, they had a great time at the picnic. Here the belonging verb had shows that the great time at the picnic belongs to they. Okay, so this is about the belonging verb. Okay children, I hope this video will help you to understand the concept of verbs. Alright, I would like you to go through this video again and again so that the concept of verbs is clear to you. Okay, and for your assignments, you have to complete the exercise of chapter 10 verb. Alright, and the solution to these exercise will be given to you later on. Okay, so till then, thank you very much and God bless you all.